When you think about control in life, it's easy to get caught up in trying to manage everything. We plan our days, set goals, and try to shape our futures. But Stoicism teaches us that much of what happens in life is beyond our control. The weather, other people's opinions, accidents, and even random chance all fall outside the scope of what we can influence. The Stoics refer to this as the dichotomy of control. On one side, the things we can influence, like our own actions, thoughts, and attitudes. On the other, the vast range of events that happen to us, over which we have no power. This is a liberating concept because it frees us from worrying about things we can't change. Instead of wasting energy on the uncontrollable, we focus on our own reactions. It's not the external event itself that upsets us, but how we interpret it. For example, imagine you're stuck in traffic on the way to an important meeting. You can't control the traffic, but you can control how you respond. You could let the frustration boil inside you, feeling angry and helpless. Or you could accept that it's out of your hands and instead use the time to relax, listen to something educational, or mentally prepare for the meeting ahead. The situation hasn't changed, but your perspective has, and that makes all the difference. In fact, the entire Stoic philosophy revolves around this idea of focusing only on what is within your control. Once you truly internalize this, many of the stresses in life seem to melt away. Think about how often we stress over things that we have no power over. We worry about what others think of us, fret over whether we'll get a certain job, or lose sleep over the state of the economy. But all of these are external forces, and by placing so much importance on them, we're giving away our peace of mind to things we can't control. The Stoics would tell us that this is where our anxiety stems from, trying to control the uncontrollable. A key Stoic practice is to regularly remind yourself of what is within your control and what is not. This daily reflection helps you stay grounded and prevents you from becoming consumed by anxiety or frustration. When faced with a challenging situation, you simply ask yourself, is this within my control? If the answer is yes, you act. If the answer is no, you let it go. This simple exercise, done consistently, can transform the way you handle life's ups and downs. Another powerful tool in the Stoic toolkit is the concept of acceptance. Acceptance isn't about being passive or weak. It's not about resigning yourself to a bad situation and doing nothing about it. Instead, acceptance is about recognizing reality for what it is. Once you acknowledge that some things are simply beyond your control, you can move forward without being weighed down by frustration or anger. For example, if you're going through a difficult breakup or dealing with the loss of a loved one, it's natural to feel sadness, anger, or even despair. But the Stoics would remind you that while you can change the fact that this event has happened, you do have control over how you respond to it. Instead of getting stuck in grief or resentment, you can choose to accept the situation, learn from it, and grow stronger. It's not about suppressing your emotions, but about processing them in a healthy, constructive way. One of the most famous Stoic exercises is the idea of premeditatio malorum, or premeditation of evils. This exercise involves visualizing the worst possible outcomes in your life and mentally preparing yourself for them. At first, this might sound counterproductive. Why would you want to think about terrible things happening? But by imagining these scenarios, you're not inviting them into your life. Instead, you're training yourself to accept the possibility that bad things can and will happen. By doing so, you're less likely to be caught off guard when they do. And when you're mentally prepared, you can face these challenges with a calm and steady mind, rather than panicking or feeling devastated. This practice also helps cultivate gratitude. When you regularly reflect on what could go wrong, it makes you appreciate what you have in the present moment. You're less likely to take things for granted because you're aware of how easily they could be taken away. The Stoics were big proponents of living in the present, not because they believed in indulgence or recklessness, but because they understood the fragility of life. By practicing gratitude and mindfulness, you become more aware of the blessings you have, and you live each day with greater appreciation and purpose. Another Stoic technique that is highly relevant to modern life is the idea of voluntary discomfort. In a world obsessed with comfort and convenience, where we have endless luxuries at our fingertips, it's easy to become soft, both physically and mentally. But the Stoics believe that deliberately putting yourself in uncomfortable situations helps build resilience. By doing things like taking cold showers, fasting, or sleeping on the floor, you're reminding yourself that you don't need all the comforts of life to be happy. These small acts of discomfort toughen you up for the larger challenges that life will inevitably throw your way. This practice is particularly valuable today, in a world where we're constantly bombarded by messages telling us we need more to be happy, more money, more success, more possessions. But Stoicism teaches that true happiness comes from within, not from external things. When you learn to be content with less, you're no longer held hostage by the fear of losing what you have or the constant drive to acquire more. This mental freedom is one of the greatest gifts Stoicism has to offer. Let's take a closer look at how Stoic principles can be applied in everyday life. Imagine you're at work, and a colleague makes a critical comment about your performance in front of your boss. Your first instinct might be to react defensively, to feel hurt or embarrassed. But a Stoic approach would encourage you to pause before responding. Ask yourself, is this within my control? You can't control what your colleague said or how your boss interpreted it, but you can control your own reaction. Instead of letting your emotions take over, you can choose to respond with calmness and professionalism. By not allowing yourself to be provoked, you maintain your dignity and avoid escalating the situation. Stoicism can also be incredibly helpful in personal relationships. We all have moments when we feel let down by others, whether it's a friend who cancels plans at the last minute or a family member who doesn't seem to appreciate your efforts. In these situations, it's easy to feel hurt or frustrated. But a Stoic mindset helps you see things differently. You can't control how other people act or what they say, but you can control how much power you give to their actions. Instead of taking things personally or letting disappointment fester, you can choose to let it go and focus on what really matters. One of the most powerful aspects of Stoicism is its ability to help us face adversity with courage and resilience. Life is full of unexpected challenges, and no one is immune to hardship. Whether it's losing a job, dealing with a health crisis, or facing financial difficulties, Stoicism teaches us to meet these challenges head-on, without being overwhelmed by fear or despair. Consider the Stoic approach to failure. In today's society, failure is often seen as something to be avoided at all costs. We're taught to chase success and avoid any missteps along the way. But Stoicism reframes failure as a valuable learning experience. Every setback, every mistake is an opportunity for growth. Instead of fearing failure, Stoics embrace it as part of the journey. When you fail at something, it's not a reflection of your worth as a person. It's simply a sign that there's more to learn. This mindset takes the sting out of failure and helps you move forward with renewed determination. At the heart of Stoicism is the idea that adversity is not something to be feared but something to be used. Marcus Aurelius, one of the most famous Stoic philosophers, wrote extensively about how obstacles can be transformed into opportunities. He famously said, "The impediment to action advances action. What stands in the way becomes the way." In other words, the very things that seem to block our path can actually become the stepping stones to success if we approach them with the right mindset. This philosophy is especially powerful when applied to personal hardship. Imagine you're going through a particularly difficult time. Perhaps you're struggling with a chronic illness or dealing with the loss of a loved one. While these situations are undoubtedly painful, Stoicism teaches us to look for the lessons in the hardship. Every challenge is an opportunity to cultivate virtues like patience, resilience, and empathy. Instead of seeing adversity as something that breaks you, Stoicism encourages you to see it as something that builds you up, making you stronger and wiser in the process. One of the most challenging aspects of modern life is the constant comparison to others. In a world dominated by social media, it's easy to fall into the trap of comparing your life to the curated, filtered versions of other people's lives. You might find yourself feeling inadequate, thinking that you're not as successful, attractive, or happy as the people you see online. But Stoicism reminds us that comparison is the thief of joy. When you compare yourself to others, you're measuring your happiness by external standards, standards that are often unrealistic and beyond your control. Instead of looking outward for validation, Stoicism encourages us to look inward. True happiness doesn't come from having more than others or being better than others. It comes from living in alignment with your own values and making progress toward your own goals. By focusing on your own path, you free yourself from the endless cycle of comparison and can find contentment in the simple act of living authentically. Stoicism also has a lot to say about the importance of living with purpose. The Stoics believe that every person has a role to play in the world, and that our happiness comes from fulfilling that role to the best of our ability. This idea is especially relevant today, as many people struggle to find meaning and direction in their lives. Stoicism teaches us that purpose doesn't come from external achievements or recognition. It comes from living in accordance with our values and making a positive contribution to the world around us. Whether you're a teacher, a parent, an artist, or an entrepreneur, Stoicism encourages you to embrace your role and give it your all. This doesn't mean striving for perfection or avoiding mistakes. It means showing up every day with the intention of doing your best, no matter the circumstances. And when you approach life with this mindset, you'll find that fulfillment isn't something you need to chase. It's something that naturally arises from living with integrity and purpose. In the end, Stoicism is about taking control of your own life, not by trying to control everything around you, but by mastering your own thoughts, actions, and responses. It's about recognizing that while we can't always choose what happens to us, we can always choose how we respond. This simple yet profound shift in perspective can have a transformative impact on every aspect of your life. Stoicism is not a philosophy that promises a life free from pain or hardship. Rather, it offers a way to navigate those challenges with grace and resilience. By focusing on what you can control, accepting what you cannot, and cultivating virtues like wisdom, courage, and patience, you can build a life that is not only more peaceful but also more fulfilling. As you move forward, consider how you can start incorporating these Stoic principles into your daily life. Whether it's through journaling, meditation, or simply reflecting on your actions at the end of each day, Stoicism offers a wealth of practical tools for living a better, more purposeful life. And as you practice these principles, you'll find that you not only become more resilient in the face of adversity, but also more content, more grounded, and ultimately, more at peace with yourself and the world around you. One of the key aspects of Stoicism is the cultivation of inner peace. In a world that is constantly changing, where uncertainty is the only certainty, Stoicism teaches us to find stability within ourselves. Inner peace doesn't come from avoiding difficulties or controlling the external world, but from developing a mindset that remains calm and rational, no matter what life throws at us. The Stoics believed that by mastering our thoughts and reactions, we could achieve a level of tranquility that external events couldn't disrupt. This idea resonates deeply today, especially in the age of information overload. We're bombarded with news, social media, and notifications that demand our attention and often stir up feelings of anxiety, stress, or inadequacy. Stoicism provides an antidote to this by encouraging us to step back, take a breath, and evaluate what truly matters. Instead of reacting impulsively to every new piece of information or challenge that comes our way, Stoicism invites us to pause and consider whether our response is aligned with our values and principles. Imagine, for instance, that you're facing a difficult decision at work or in your personal life. There's pressure from all sides, and it's easy to feel overwhelmed. A Stoic approach would be to step back and ask yourself, what is within my control? What can I do that is right and virtuous in this situation? By focusing on your actions and decisions, rather than the outcome or the opinions of others, you can approach the situation with a sense of clarity and purpose. This doesn't mean that the decision will be easy, but it will be made with a calm mind and a clear understanding of what truly matters. Another important Stoic concept is the practice of negative visualization. This may sound counterintuitive at first. Why would you want to think about bad things happening? But negative visualization is not about dwelling on the negative. It's about mentally preparing yourself for the inevitable ups and downs of life. By imagining potential challenges or losses in advance, you're not caught off guard when they occur. Instead, you're better equipped to handle them with grace and composure. For example, imagine you've been working hard on a major project at work. You've put in long hours, and you're hoping for a successful outcome. But instead of only focusing on the best possible result, Stoicism encourages you to also consider what might go wrong. What if the project fails? What if it doesn't receive the recognition you hoped for? By contemplating these possibilities, you're preparing yourself mentally and emotionally for any outcome. If the worst happens, you won't be blindsided by disappointment. And if the best happens, you'll appreciate it even more because you considered the alternative. This practice of negative visualization can be applied to all areas of life, from relationships to health to personal goals. It helps you build resilience by reminding you that nothing is permanent and that loss and failure are natural parts of life. By embracing this reality, you can approach life with a sense of calm and acceptance, knowing that while you can't control everything that happens, you can control how you respond. Stoicism also emphasizes the importance of living in accordance with nature. This doesn't mean living in the wilderness or rejecting modern conveniences. Rather, it means understanding that we are a part of the natural world and that our lives, like all things in nature, are subject to change. The Stoics believe that by accepting this natural flow of life, we could free ourselves from unnecessary suffering. Consider the changing seasons. No matter how much we might wish for eternal summer, winter inevitably comes. In the same way, life is full of cycles of birth and death, success and failure, joy and sorrow. Stoicism teaches us to embrace these cycles, not resist them. When we fight against the natural flow of life, we create unnecessary stress and frustration. But when we accept that change is an inevitable part of existence, we can navigate life with greater ease and contentment. This philosophy is particularly useful in dealing with loss. Whether it's the loss of a loved one, a job, or a dream, Stoicism helps us understand that loss is a natural part of life. It's not something to be feared or avoided, but accepted as part of the human experience. This doesn't mean that we don't grieve or feel pain, but it does mean that we don't let that grief consume us. Instead, we acknowledge it, learn from it, and move forward with a renewed sense of purpose. In the realm of personal development, Stoicism offers powerful insights into the cultivation of virtue. The Stoics believe that a life well lived is one that is focused on developing and practicing virtues such as wisdom, courage, justice, and temperance. These virtues form the foundation of Stoic philosophy and are seen as the highest good, more valuable than wealth, fame, or pleasure. Living virtuously means striving to act in accordance with reason, to make decisions based on what is right rather than what is easy or convenient. Wisdom, for the Stoics, is the ability to distinguish between what is within our control and what is not. It's about making choices that align with our values and principles, even when those choices are difficult. Wisdom involves not just intellectual understanding but practical application, knowing what is right and acting on it. Courage, another key virtue, is about facing challenges with determination and resilience. It's not the absence of fear, but the ability to move forward despite fear. In today's world, courage might mean standing up for your beliefs even when it's unpopular or taking risks in pursuit of a meaningful goal. Courage is about perseverance in the face of adversity and the willingness to continue striving even when the outcome is uncertain. Justice in Stoic thought is about treating others with fairness, kindness, and respect. It's about recognizing that we are all interconnected and that our actions affect those around us. The Stoics believe that we have a responsibility to contribute to the well-being of others and to act in ways that promote the greater good. This concept of justice is particularly relevant in today's society, where issues of inequality, injustice, and division are so prevalent. Stoicism encourages us to be not only virtuous in our own lives, but also to work toward a more just and compassionate world. Finally, temperance is the virtue of self-control and moderation. It's about finding balance in life and avoiding excess. Whether it's in our consumption of food, material goods, or even emotional reactions, temperance teaches us to practice restraint and to focus on what is truly necessary and beneficial. In a culture that often glorifies excess, whether it's in the pursuit of wealth, success, or pleasure, Stoicism reminds us that true happiness comes from living simply and mindfully. By cultivating these virtues, we create a solid foundation for navigating life's challenges. Virtue, according to the Stoics, is its own reward. When we live virtuously, we experience a deep sense of fulfillment and peace, regardless of external circumstances. This inner fulfillment is far more valuable than any external success or material gain because it is something that can never be taken away. As we continue to explore Stoicism, it's important to remember that this philosophy is not about perfection. The Stoics understood that we are all flawed and that we will inevitably make mistakes. What matters is not that we never fail, but that we continually strive to improve. Stoicism is a lifelong practice of self-reflection and growth. It's about learning from our mistakes, forgiving ourselves for our imperfections, and committing to do better moving forward. In this way, Stoicism is a deeply compassionate philosophy. It encourages us to be patient with ourselves and with others, recognizing that everyone is on their own journey toward virtue. Instead of harshly judging ourselves or others for failing to live up to certain standards, Stoicism teaches us to approach life with humility and understanding. We are all human after all, and part of the human experience is making mistakes and learning from them. As you begin to integrate Stoic principles into your own life, start small. You don't need to adopt every Stoic practice all at once. Instead, focus on one or two areas where you feel Stoicism could help you the most. Perhaps you want to work on letting go of things beyond your control, or maybe you want to cultivate more courage in pursuing your goals. Whatever it is, begin with small, manageable steps and gradually build from there. One powerful way to practice Stoicism is through journaling. Many Stoics, including Marcus Aurelius, use journaling as a tool for self-reflection and growth. By writing down your thoughts, feelings, and experiences, you can gain clarity and insight into your own mind. Journaling allows you to reflect on how you're applying Stoic principles in your life and to track your progress over time. It's also a great way to process emotions and challenges, helping you to stay grounded and focused on what really matters. Another helpful practice is daily meditation or mindfulness. Stoicism encourages us to live in the present moment, fully aware of our thoughts and actions. By practicing mindfulness, we can become more aware of our emotional reactions and learn to pause before responding. This allows us to act from a place of wisdom and reason, rather than being swept away by impulse or emotion. Regular mindfulness practice can help you develop the mental clarity and resilience needed to navigate life's challenges with a calm and steady mind. As we conclude this exploration of Stoicism, remember that this philosophy is not just about enduring life's difficulties, but about thriving in the face of them. Stoicism empowers you to take control of your own happiness by focusing on what you can control, accepting what you cannot, and living a life of virtue. It's a path to inner peace, resilience, and true fulfillment. While the world around us may be unpredictable and chaotic, Stoicism provides a steady compass to guide us through the storm. By embracing Stoic principles, you can cultivate the strength and clarity needed to navigate life's challenges with grace and purpose. So whether you're facing a personal crisis, a professional setback, or simply the everyday stresses of life, remember that you have the power to choose how you respond, and in that choice lies your greatest strength. As we dive deeper into Stoicism, it's important to recognize that this philosophy is as practical as it is profound. Stoicism was designed not as a set of abstract ideas to be debated in ivory towers, but as a toolkit for living a good life. It was practiced by people from all walks of life, from slaves like Epictetus to emperors like Marcus Aurelius. The fact that Stoicism can be applied by such a wide range of individuals speaks to its universal appeal and relevance. In modern times, Stoicism offers us a powerful way to navigate the fast-paced, often overwhelming nature of life. Whether you're a business leader trying to make tough decisions, a student facing academic pressure, or a parent managing the complexities of family life, Stoicism provides a framework for maintaining clarity and composure. It's a philosophy that helps you not only survive but thrive, even in the most challenging circumstances. One of the most valuable lessons Stoicism teaches is the importance of self-discipline. In a world where instant gratification is often the norm, Stoicism reminds us of the value of patience, restraint, and long-term thinking. Self-discipline for the Stoics is not about denying yourself pleasure or joy, but about mastering your impulses and aligning your actions with your long-term goals and values. Consider, for example, the distractions we face in everyday life. From social media notifications to endless entertainment options, it's easy to lose focus and spend hours on things that don't contribute to our personal growth or well-being. Stoicism encourages us to be mindful of how we spend our time and to exercise self-discipline in our choices. This might mean setting boundaries around your technology use, dedicating time to meaningful activities, or simply being more intentional about how you spend your days. Self-discipline is also crucial when it comes to managing our emotions. We live in a culture that often glorifies emotional expression, where venting our frustrations, sharing our grievances, or acting out of anger can sometimes seem like the norm. But Stoicism encourages a different approach. The Stoics believe that while emotions are natural and inevitable, we shouldn't be controlled by them. Instead, we should strive to understand our emotions, to process them, and to respond to them in a thoughtful, measured way. This doesn't mean suppressing your emotions or pretending they don't exist. On the contrary, Stoicism encourages us to be fully aware of our emotional states, but it also teaches us that we have the power to choose how we respond to those emotions. If you're feeling angry, frustrated, or anxious, a Stoic approach would be to pause, reflect on the source of those emotions, and ask yourself whether they are helping or hindering you. Often, you'll find that reacting impulsively, whether by lashing out, complaining, or wallowing in negative feelings, doesn't actually improve the situation. Instead, it may even make things worse. By practicing self-discipline in your emotional responses, you can learn to act from a place of wisdom and reason rather than from a place of impulse or reactivity. This can transform your relationships, your work, and your overall well-being. When you're able to maintain your composure in difficult situations, you're more likely to make decisions that align with your long-term goals and values, and you're less likely to regret your actions later on. In addition to self-discipline, Stoicism places a strong emphasis on the concept of resilience. Resilience, for the Stoics, is not just about bouncing back from adversity, it's about growing stronger because of it. Stoicism teaches us that life is full of challenges, and that these challenges are opportunities for growth. Every setback, every failure, and every hardship is a chance to cultivate virtue and to become a better version of ourselves. This idea of resilience is particularly relevant in today's world, where many people face significant personal, professional, and societal challenges. Whether it's dealing with financial difficulties, navigating career uncertainty, or managing the pressures of modern life, resilience is a key skill that helps us persevere through tough times. Stoicism provides us with the mindset and tools to build that resilience. One powerful way to cultivate resilience is by practicing the Stoic concept of amor fati, or love of fate. Amor fati is about embracing everything that happens to you, the good, the bad, and the ugly, as a necessary part of your journey. Instead of wishing things were different, Stoicism teaches us to love and accept what is, even if it's painful or difficult. By adopting this attitude, we can transform adversity into a source of strength and wisdom. For example, if you lose your job, rather than dwelling on the loss or wishing things had turned out differently, a Stoic approach would be to accept the situation fully and ask yourself what lessons you can learn from it. What opportunities does this challenge present? How can you use this experience to grow? This shift in perspective allows you to move forward with a sense of purpose and determination, rather than being weighed down by regret or resentment. In addition to amor fati, another Stoic practice that fosters resilience is the idea of memento mori, or remember that you will die. This may sound morbid, but the purpose of this reflection is not to dwell on death but to remind us of the preciousness of life. By keeping the reality of our mortality in mind, we are encouraged to live more fully, to make the most of the time we have, and to not waste our energy on trivial concerns. Memento mori helps us put things in perspective. When we remember that life is short, we're less likely to get caught up in petty arguments, material desires, or the pursuit of superficial success. Instead, we're more likely to focus on what truly matters: our relationships, our personal growth, and the impact we have on the world. This practice can also help us let go of fear, particularly the fear of failure or judgment, because we realize that in the grand scheme of things, many of the things we worry about are insignificant. Stoicism is also a philosophy that encourages community and service to others. While Stoicism places a strong emphasis on personal responsibility and self-improvement, it also teaches that we are all interconnected. The Stoics believe that we have a duty to contribute to the well-being of others and to work toward the greater good. This sense of responsibility to others is a key component of Stoic ethics. In today's world, where division and polarization often dominate, Stoicism offers a reminder that we are all part of the same human community. Whether you're interacting with family, friends, colleagues, or strangers, Stoicism encourages you to treat others with kindness, respect, and empathy. By focusing on the common humanity that unites us, rather than the differences that divide us, we can foster a greater sense of connection and understanding. This Stoic principle of cosmopolitanism, the idea that we are all citizens of the world, also encourages us to think beyond our own immediate concerns and to consider the impact of our actions on the broader community. Whether it's through volunteering, mentoring, or simply being more mindful of how we treat those around us, Stoicism teaches us that true fulfillment comes not just from improving ourselves but from contributing to the well-being of others. At the same time, Stoicism encourages us to be mindful of how we react to the behavior of others. The Stoics understood that people will often act in ways that are hurtful, frustrating, or disappointing. But rather than letting these actions affect our peace of mind, Stoicism teaches us to approach others with understanding and compassion. When someone wrongs you, instead of reacting with anger or resentment, a Stoic approach would be to reflect on why they acted the way they did and to recognize that their behavior is a reflection of their own struggles, not of your worth. By practicing forgiveness and understanding, you not only free yourself from the burden of holding on to negative emotions, but you also create the possibility for more harmonious relationships. This doesn't mean allowing yourself to be mistreated or ignoring bad behavior, but it does mean responding in a way that is aligned with your values and principles, rather than reacting out of anger or frustration. As we continue to explore the practical applications of Stoicism, it's important to remember that this philosophy is not about becoming emotionless or indifferent. On the contrary, Stoicism teaches us to feel deeply, to care deeply, and to act with purpose. But it also teaches us to do so with wisdom, patience, and clarity. By mastering our thoughts and actions, we can live in a way that is not only more peaceful but also more meaningful. One of the most valuable gifts that Stoicism offers is the ability to live in the present moment. In a world that often pushes us to constantly think about the future or dwell on the past, Stoicism reminds us that the only moment we truly have is the one we're in right now. By focusing on the present, we can free ourselves from the anxiety of what might happen or the regret of what has already happened. We can fully engage with life as it is, appreciating each moment for what it offers. Living in the present doesn't mean ignoring the future or failing to learn from the past. But it does mean that we don't allow ourselves to be consumed by worry or regret. Instead, we approach each day with a sense of mindfulness, fully aware of our thoughts, actions, and surroundings. This practice of presence allows us to experience life more fully, to connect more deeply with others, and to find joy in the simple, everyday moments that might otherwise pass us by. As you continue to incorporate Stoicism into your life, remember that it's a journey, not a destination. Stoicism is not about achieving a state of perfection or never experiencing hardship. It's about learning to navigate life's challenges with resilience, wisdom, and grace. It's about becoming the best version of yourself, not in comparison to others, but in alignment with your own values and goals. The path of Stoicism is one of continuous growth and self-reflection. There will be times when you stumble, when you feel overwhelmed, or when you struggle to live up to the principles you've set for yourself. But Stoicism teaches us that this is all part of the process. Each moment, each experience is an opportunity to learn, to grow, and to move closer to the person you aspire to be. As you move forward on this path, take the time to reflect on how Stoicism has impacted your life. What changes have you noticed in your mindset, your reactions, or your relationships? How have Stoic principles helped you navigate challenges, big or small? By regularly reflecting on your progress, you can continue to deepen your practice of Stoicism and to cultivate the virtues that lead to a fulfilling, purposeful life. As we come to the end of this journey through Stoicism, it's important to remember that this philosophy is not something you need to master overnight. It's a lifelong practice, one that grows and evolves with you. Stoicism offers timeless wisdom that, if applied consistently, can transform your approach to life's challenges and enhance your sense of purpose and fulfillment. The most important takeaway is that you have more control over your happiness and peace of mind than you might think. Life will always present difficulties, but Stoicism teaches us that we are not at the mercy of those external events. We are in control of how we respond, and it's in that response that we find our true power. Start small, perhaps tomorrow, when you face a minor inconvenience, a delayed train, a stressful meeting, or a disagreement with someone. Pause and reflect before reacting. Ask yourself, what can I control in this situation? How can I respond in a way that reflects my values? With time, these small moments of mindfulness and reflection will accumulate, and you'll find yourself navigating life with greater ease, resilience, and wisdom. Remember that Stoicism is not about becoming indifferent or emotionless. It's about cultivating emotional intelligence and clarity. It's about caring deeply but wisely, acting with purpose, and letting go of things that do not serve your higher self. By practicing Stoicism, you'll find that life becomes less overwhelming, and you'll be better equipped to face adversity with a sense of calm and strength. So, as you move forward, consider how you can apply these principles to your own life. Whether it's by journaling, meditating, or simply reflecting on your actions each day, Stoicism provides a practical framework for living a life of virtue, purpose, and inner peace. As you begin this journey of incorporating Stoic philosophy into your life, remember that the goal is not perfection but progress. Every step you take toward mastering your thoughts and actions is a step toward a more fulfilling and resilient life. In the words of Marcus Aurelius, the happiness of your life depends upon the quality of your thoughts. So, cultivate thoughts that serve you, that help you grow, and that align with your deepest values. Because in the end, it's not what happens to you that matters, it's how you choose to respond. Thank you for joining me in this exploration of Stoicism. I hope these principles provide you with the strength, clarity, and wisdom to navigate whatever life throws your way. Remember, you are always in control of your response, and in that, you hold the key to your happiness and peace of mind.